Welcome to Success Beyond Borders. Every week, we take a deep dive into the topics that really matter for those of you navigating the dynamic worlds of media and tech.
Great to be here.
Today, we're laser focused on something absolutely critical for growth: the go-to-market or GTM playbook, specifically as it applies to media tech SaaS companies.
Exactly. And we're drawing on some really sharp insights published by Ungulum. They specialize in this stuff, GTM strategy.
Right.
And to really illustrate the challenge, let's maybe paint a picture. Imagine a real titan in the media tech space. We can call them Titan Media Solutions.
Right.
Think of a venerable oak tree, decades of history, blue chip clients, global sales engine, rock solid financials. They're used to those huge multi-million-dollar deals.
Sounds like an industry behemoth for sure.
Precisely. So picture this. Big industry event. Their CEO proudly unveils Streamleap. It's this cutting-edge, AI-powered content personalization platform.
Okay, sounds exciting.
And the initial reaction, it's electric. Early adopters are like clamoring to sign up. Looks like a textbook launch, really.
The kind of debut every company dreams of, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then, just a few short months later, the buzz kind of starts to fade. Demo attendance dwindles.
Oh.
Those crucial follow-up conversations with the major prospects, they just stall. This shiny new SaaS product, Streamleap, despite all of Titan Media's advantages, their brand, their resources, it just isn't gaining traction.
Mm-hmm.
And for a company used to those massive enterprise agreements, well, the silence around Streamleap must have been kind of deafening.
It really begs the question, doesn't it? How can these established powerhouses armed with brand recognition, huge resources, how can they actually stumble when launching a seemingly great SaaS offering?
Yeah.
Is it just, product market fit? Or are there maybe deeper, more systemic issues with their go-to-market strategy itself?
Exactly.
I'm guessing many people listening in media and tech, they've either seen this happen or maybe even experienced it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the core of what we're digging into today. It's what the Ungulum Insights call the SaaS Paradox.
SaaS Paradox. Okay.
Yeah, why is it that these seasoned B2B players, companies that have totally dominated their traditional markets, often find themselves feeling, outpaced when it comes to SaaS recurring revenue? It seems almost counterintuitive.
Okay, let's really get into the SaaS paradox then. What's the fundamental disconnect? Why do these successful companies falter here? What's the rub?
Well, a big part of it is the difference between their, let's say, well-honed traditional high-touch sales models.
Right, the ones they built their empire on.
Exactly, and the very different demands of successful SaaS adoption, especially in those critical early days. They've often got these amazing direct sales teams doing extensive white glove demos, in-depth executive briefings, navigating long, complex negotiations.
All necessary for those big enterprise deals.
Totally necessary for securing those large deals with really high annual contract values, ACVs. But that same approach becomes incredibly inefficient, frankly, prohibitively expensive when you're trying to get broader market penetration or chasing smaller opportunities.
Right, it's like that quote you mentioned from the piece. It would make no sense to fly cross-country to close a $10 per seat deal.
Exactly.
That really crystallizes the inefficiency, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
So, okay, if that traditional high-touch approach isn't the only key, maybe not even the main key for early SaaS traction, what are the other essential pieces?
This is where the concept of the GTM factory comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a useful analogy.
GTM and factory.
Think of generating recurring revenue like a factory floor.
Mm-hmm.
And the different GTM motions, high touch, medium touch, low touch, they're like different production lines in that factory. You've got your direct high touch sales line for the big enterprise clients. We just talked about that. But then you also need lines for, say, medium touch channel partnerships, and maybe a no touch or low touch line focused on product led growth or PLG.
Okay.
The critical point here, and where companies like Titan Media maybe got stuck, is if you over optimize for just one of those lines, say, only that high-touch enterprise one, and you neglect or underinvest in the others, that can lead to exactly the kind of misfires we saw with Streamleap. It stalls.
Interesting. Okay, let's explore these production lines then. Tell us more about the medium-touch channel partnerships. Who are we talking about here? What role do they play?
Right. So for those mid-market accounts, kind of sitting between the huge enterprises needing that dedicated high touch, and the smaller customers happy with self-service channel partners, becomes super valuable.
Okay.
These can be, value-added resellers, VARs. They might bundle your software with other things, provide a more local solution.
Got it.
Then you have systems integrators, SIs. They help bigger companies implement and integrate your SaaS product with everything else they've got.
Right, the tech stack integration.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you also have specialized consultancies. They bring deep industry know-how and guide clients on getting the most business value out of your tool. Essentially, these partners extend your reach. They bring relationships, specific expertise, crucial for those mid-market segments.
But the Unglim insights also flagged potential conflicts with partners. What kind of issues can crop up? How do you avoid them?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
With that very clear rules of engagement and uh, a solid partner enablement strategy, you can easily get into trouble.
Like what?
Like territorial disputes, right?
Yeah.
Your direct team and a partner chasing the same lead. Big confusion, internal friction.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or just lack of clarity on who owns an account. And maybe even more importantly, if partners aren't properly trained and equipped to sell, implement, support your product.
Then deals stall, customers get unhappy.
Exactly. Stall deals, unhappy customers, and ultimately it can actually damage your brand. So effective enablement is key. Training, marketing materials, clear communication, clear processes for leads, and deal registration. It prevents conflict, makes it win-win.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, let's shift gears now to this no-touch or low-touch PLG, product-led growth. The piece highlights this as a big shift. What's the core idea?
Yeah, this is where the traditional playbook really gets flipped. PLG basically means the product itself is the main engine for acquiring customers, getting them activated, even expanding their usage.
Instead of relying on sales first?
Right. Instead of heavy reliance on sales outreach, the focus shifts to offering users direct value through the product fast. So strategies like free trials, freemium versions.
The ones we see everywhere now.
Exactly. Freemium that gives ongoing value for free. Also, intuitive in-app onboarding guides, tutorials, and leveraging product usage analytics, understanding how people actually use the product.
Okay.
And using that data to spot opportunities for upselling or cross-selling based on real behavior.
So the product becomes its own salesperson, basically, attracting and converting based on its own value.
Precisely. And the Unglim piece gives a great example, a company called Clipforge, pseudonym, obviously.
Yeah.
They launched with a smart freemium model, got an amazing 100,000 self-service signups in just 6 months.
Wow, that's impressive.
It really is. And what's cool is they then used a product-led sales loop, meaning they watched the usage data, saw who was hitting limits, using certain features heavily, and then they strategically sent their sales team in to target those users with tailored upgrade offers for paid features. It unlocks totally different scalability compared to just outbound sales.
That's a massive departure, isn't it? And it sounds like this is maybe exactly where Titan Media missed the boat with Streamleap.
Exactly. It seems their whole GTM for Streamleap was built on treating it only as an enterprise product, always needing that high-touch approach.
Right.
But the analysis suggests Streamleap likely had potential to build huge momentum with a low-touch strategy targeting smaller segments. Think individual design teams, independent creators, boutique agencies.
Well, people who could just sign up and start using it.
Yeah. They could have adopted it themselves via self-service, given crucial early feedback, maybe even driven viral growth through word-of-mouth collaboration features. Instead, Titan's big enterprise sales team was busy chasing a few large accounts who, well, maybe weren't biting yet. And this whole other potential market segment just left completely untapped.
So it's becoming really clear it's not a binary choice. It's not just high touch or just PLG. The real key seems to be combining them strategically.
You've absolutely nailed it. That's the core argument from the Unglim insights. They advocate for a multifaceted GPM strategy that strategically phases these different motions.
Phases them.
Yeah, based on a deep understanding of your customer segments and what they need at different points in their journey.
Okay, walk us through that. What might a phased approach look like practically for a media tech SaaS launch?
Okay, so phase one is really about getting that initial foothold, building credibility. This usually means high-touch direct sales. Leverage your existing enterprise relationships, your experienced team, land those crucial early marquee customers.
Get some big logos, social proof.
Yep. Exactly. Big initial revenue, yes, but also invaluable social proof, case studies you can use later. Now, simultaneously in phase one, you'd also strategically start with medium-touch channel partnerships.
Oh, yeah.
To begin penetrating that mid-market. But like we said, needs very clear co-selling playbooks, how direct and partners work together, and those crucial rules of engagement to avoid stepping on toes.
That makes sense. Leverage existing strengths for big wins, start expanding reach via partners, but carefully manage it. So what happens in phase two then?
Phase 2 is where you really push for broader adoption and scalable growth. This is where no-touch, low-touch PLG for smaller accounts comes roaring in.
Right, opening the floodgates a bit.
Kinda. You implement seamless self-service onboarding, maybe attractive freemium, generous free trials, let users feel the value without talking to sales, focus on an intuitive in-app experience, easy guidance.
Okay.
And crucially, Phase 2 incorporates that product-led sales loop. You're constantly analyzing usage analytics, feature adoption, frequency, engagement.
Looking for those power users or people hitting walls.
Precisely. To automatically identify users showing high interest or needing more advanced features. These insights then trigger targeted outreach, maybe from direct sales, maybe channel partners offering relevant upsells or cross-sells. It's much more efficient, much more data-driven.
That sounds like a much smarter, more scalable path to sustain growth. But to pull this off, this multifaceted thing, what needs to be in place? What are the foundations?
Absolutely. There are some fundamentals. The Ungulum insights highlight several key enablers, essential for orchestrating this.
Okay, like what?
First, maybe most foundational, clear segmentation. You absolutely must have a granular, data-driven understanding of your customers. Segment by size, industry, needs, willingness to use different GTM motions.
Really knowing who you're talking to?
Totally. This deep segmentation lets you map each GTM motion high, medium, no touch to the right customer tier, so you're not wasting expensive resources where they don't fit, and you're tailoring efforts for max impact.
Segmentation always comes back to that, doesn't it? What else is key?
Next up, cross-functional alignment. This is huge. Breaking down those internal silos. Marketing, sales, product, customer success, they all need to be working together, fully aligned around shared goals, shared KPIs.
Like what kind of KPIs?
Things like customer acquisition costs, conversion rates through the funnel, churn rates, expansion revenue velocity. Without that deep alignment, the whole GTM strategy just suffers from friction, miscommunication, patchy execution.
Makes perfect sense. Siloed teams, different goals. Recipe for disaster. What's number 3?
We touch on this with partners, but it applies everywhere. Rules of engagement,
Yeah.
clear, well-communicated guidelines, roles, responsibilities, boundaries for direct sales, channel partners, PLG initiatives, who talks to whom, when.
Clarity prevents chaos.
Exactly. Prevents deal overlap, minimizes channel conflict, ensures everyone knows their lane at each stage of the customer lifecycle.
Okay, and the final key enabler.
That would have to be data-driven optimization. I mean, today you have access to so much data on how customers interact with your product, your GPM efforts.
Yeah.
You need to be continuously tracking key funnel KPIs for each motion. Trial to paid rates for PLG, deal size and cycle length for direct partner-influenced revenue for channel.
Measuring everything.
And using that data. It gives you insights into what's working, what's not, lets you make informed decisions about resource allocation, refining strategies, continuously improving GTM performance.
So the core message here isn't about picking one GTM motion and ditching the others. It's really about this deliberate orchestration, isn't it? High, medium, no touch, all working together.
Precisely. Not an either. The piece uses that powerful analogy. It's a symphony of movements.
A symphony, I like that.
Yeah. Each GTM motion's a different instrument, right? Reaching different market segments. You need them all playing together in harmony, playing their specific parts to unlock the full revenue potential and get optimal market penetration.
This has massive strategic implications for leadership in these media tech companies, doesn't it? What are the big takeaways for the C-suite?
Oh, definitely. Several crucial ones. First is what the insights call revenue growth management.
Okay.
By using tailored GTM motions aligned to segments, leaders get much better precision in forecasting revenue and allocating resources.
Avoiding waste.
Exactly. Avoid overinvesting costly high-touch sales on lower-tier products that just inflates your CAC, burns cash. But also, avoid underfunding self-serve funnels that leaves huge opportunities for organic growth on the table.
Right.
And the piece notes that engaging external specialists like Ungulum can give that objective audit of the GTM factory, find bottlenecks, help align spending with expected returns.
That seems valuable, getting an outside view. What's another key takeaway for leaders?
A second big one is organizational design and sales strategy. Leaders need to get that the skills and structures for SaaS GTM are evolving.
How so?
You need hybrid skill sets. That traditional enterprise sales smarts for big deals, still needed, but it has to be complemented by strong, data-driven product marketing skills to drive PLG effectively.
So different kinds of people, or people with broader skills?
Both, potentially. And the insights even float an interesting idea. Fractional sales leadership.
Fractional, like part-time?
Yeah, bringing in experienced SaaS GTM experts part-time. They help develop and implement these multifaceted strategies. You get specialized knowledge without the full-time exec cost.
That's actually a really practical idea for companies maybe lacking that specific SaaS expertise internally. Okay, what's the final strategic point for leaders?
It's absolutely critical. Local market nuances. You just can't ignore them.
Meaning,
Cultural norms, regulations, competitors, they vary hugely region by region.
yeah.
What works great in one place might completely bomb elsewhere.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Maybe in APAC, large media firms still expect super personalized in-person demos, maybe even on-prem deployments, while European SMBs, they might be totally fine with a self-serve credit card sauce model.
Right.
So a one-size-fits-all global GPM strategy, risky, can lead to misfires, lost market share. But understanding and mapping your GTM motions to those regional specifics, that can unlock hidden pockets of really significant growth.
So it's not just multifaceted overall, but the mix needs potentially local adaptation. Wow. This has been incredibly insightful. To help listeners make this real, what are some concrete actions they could take?
Yeah, the insights offer several practical steps. First, conduct a thorough customer segmentation workshop. Get people from across the org together, really understand those segments, needs, preferences.
Get everyone on the same page.
Exactly. Second, establish cross-functional GTM squads. Mix marketing, sales, product, customer success. Give them shared OKRs, clear governance for collaboration.
Break down those silos we talked about.
Right. Third, clearly define and document those rules of engagement for each motion, direct, channel, PLG. Prevent confusion, overlap, conflict.
Get it in writing.
Definitely. And finally, deploy real-time dashboards and analytics. Track those key funnel metrics, ACV distribution, churn rates across all motions. That data is your feedback loop for continuous optimization.
Those are all really tangible steps people can think about. You know, the Engulum piece ends with these powerful, thought-provoking questions. I think they're worth repeating.
Yeah, they really stick with you.
It asks, in an era where market winds shift overnight, will your organization remain the rigid oak strong but ultimately inflexible, or evolve into a dynamic forest of complementary instruments, each precisely tuned to its own pitch? How will you strategically orchestrate your high-touch, medium-touch, and no-touch GTM motions to compose a revenue symphony that resonates not only today, but also well into the future? Pretty compelling stuff to ponder.
It really underscores that critical need, doesn't it, for media tech SaaS firms to move beyond maybe rigid traditional approaches, to embrace a more adaptable, nuanced, multifaceted way to go to market if they want sustainable success in this landscape. It changes so fast.
Absolutely. So the key takeaway really for everyone listening, in media tech SaaS, a one-size-fits-all GTM is likely a recipe for, well, getting stuck, even for established players.
Yeah, stagnation is a real risk.
True. Lasting success seems to lie in deeply understanding your diverse customer segments and then strategically orchestrating that well-integrated symphony of high-touch, medium-touch, and no-touch approaches to effectively reach and engage all of them.
Exactly. It's about building that resilient, adaptable forest of complementary instruments, not just relying on the single rigid oak, however strong it seems, when the winds change.
Well said. If you found this deep dive into go-to-market playbooks for media tech SaaS valuable, please do make sure to like and subscribe to Success Beyond Borders.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
We'll keep exploring critical topics for media and tech in our upcoming discussions. Thanks for tuning in.